Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you can set custom visibility rules so that only some things are visible when it's nearby to somewhere or it's within a certain time period. Now this is more of an advanced option and it's quite useful to go through our JSON documentation alongside the options that you have on the web screens. So I'm actually going to log into my Locly system here. At the bottom is our documentation section, and then we're going to open up the JSON documentation so that that's to hand. For this video I'm going to use the Locly Native demo, the standard one that should be in your account as well. And I'm going to go down into one of the cards at the top collection. So for the sample here I'm going to go into the root, I'll go to the card types, and then let's say that I only want the this content card one, to be visible when I'm, say, nearby a beacon. This is quite useful if I want to keep something hidden, or maybe I want people to pay to come into my place and I don't want to give away that content when they're viewing the app at home. Lots of different options, but I'll show you how the visibility rule works. So let me go into the card I want to change the behavior for. At the top here I've got the location, cover and about, and at the very end I've got visibility. This is the tab we'll be talking about today. Tapping on that gives me two different areas. There's a rule for visibility and a rule for access. These do what you do imagine. The first one says, when can I see this? And the other one says, where can I tap and go into it? It's up to you which one you use. There are different use cases for both. For this one, I'm going to use the visibility one. Now, if you can think about all the different types of things you can map as to when something should be visible or not, from a dial perspective, you're probably looking like a dashboard of a 747. So what we've done as an approach is to use a Lambda function. This is a piece of code that you write that returns either true or false. True means you see it, false means you don't. Now we've got some examples in the drop-down menu. Always returns true, as you would imagine. Never returns false. Now, everything else is just a way of calculating true or false. And it's very similar to the rules that you use in something like Excel. It's just that we use JavaScript as the language to do the evaluation. Some of the other examples we've got are time and location based. Let me show you what showing on Mondays only looks like. You can see here that it's got a little function. It returns, and what this does is it gets the date as it is now, get me the day, and it returns if that's equal to, in this case, the number 1. Now this example was for Monday, so Sunday's 0, Monday's 1. Let's say if I wanted to do it on a Tuesday, that would be 2. This gets evaluated every time this card is meant to be visible or not, and if I was to apply this now, it means that this card will only be visible on Tuesdays. Quite useful. I can also do it a little bit more granular when I actually look for, say, a range of times. This is very similar. Now it's got two things. It's got the date, as it is now. Now I don't want the day, I want the actual hour, so there's a get hours. And now I want to check if that's greater than or equal to 9 in the morning. These two ands is the logical and. I need to combine all these together. Both need to be true for this entire thing to be true. And the next test I have is that, again, I get the date and the hours as it is now and check that that's less than or equal to 17. So it's a 24-hour clock. This means I've got my opening times and this card is visible when we're open. I could do the same and have the inverse, where if the date at the time is outside these, I get the card for when we're shut. Very nice, very easy to do. Next one I'm going to show you is when I'm nearby a beacon. This looks a little bit more complicated, but I'll go through each one in turn. It's actually quite a straightforward expression. What it's actually testing to see is, am I near a particular beacon, but have I been near it for the past n amount of time? And that time is measured in milliseconds, so 1,000 of a second. Let me run through what this logic does. First of all, it tries to see when was the last time I saw this particular beacon. And this is a string which has the beacon UUID without the dashes, so it's just the number that we see here, the hex number here. You get this from your beacon setting, so there's a different one for the estimate family. This one's the Locly family of beacons. We have then a colon, the major number, colon, and a minor. And you'll know which beacon is required according to how you've set up your environment. This fetches the last time I've seen this beacon. Now, it might be nothing, which is what this does here, and what I'm interested in is the time when I saw this. And this is returned as a time number, what's called an epoch number, measured in milliseconds. And to get the difference between now, which is what this does, the date currently, and get me the time number, take away the time that I last saw the beacon, and if the difference between these two is less than, now this is 10,000 milliseconds, so that's 10 seconds, then, ta-da, this returns true. That means if I'm in a room and I've been nearby this beacon, then for 10 seconds after that time, and of course that's a rolling 10 seconds if I'm continually near that beacon, I can see this content. I can change this to change my behavior. Let's say I want you to have access to this content any time during the day where you were on site. So that means I can use the beacon at the entrance, and I can use this to be a day worth of milliseconds, which would be, now what would that be, 24 times 60 times 60 times 1,000. That's what I would use there. I would click save, that would apply it, and that's it. Now, because this is a Lambda function, I can use a lot of combinations to do whatever I need to do. So if I wanted to say, when I'm near this beacon on a Saturday after 5, then I can do that rule as well. Exactly the same format applies to access. So sometimes I want to show the cover of the card, but not allow you to tap on it. So I might know that there's premium content when I've entered through the gate, which needs a ticket, but I can't actually tap on it until I've actually gone through and seen the beacon that's the opposite side of the actual gate itself. There is more documentation on our JSON documentation that I referred to earlier. On the left-hand side here, you'll see what we call the Lambda functions, which has some details expressing what I've just covered here. If you've got any questions, let us know. This is a very powerful feature, but we're more than happy to help you configure it to do what you want it to do.